The strain is tight at first, not loud. By the time the cameras show her leaning forward, Tamar Braxton is already seated. Her hands clasped together, her gaze focused on her sisters. A silent, heavy moment that feels heavier than any argument. No pleasantries, no grins. They all seem to sense it at the table. You cannot take back what is about to be spoken. Then the silence is broken by Tamar. The space becomes immobile. No one chuckles. There are no interruptions. In her chair, one sister moves. Another pushes back right away, inquiring as to her precise identity. Tamar doesn't back down though. She maintains her rigid stance. As though she were saying something, her voice was controlled and almost practiced. In her mind, she has already said it 100 times. Tamar claims that in an attempt to close her business, her sisters send a cease and desist letter. The conversation quickly intensifies. Some questions are repeated. Who are all of you? Guess. As if narrowing, repeated repeatedly. The charge may be weakened by the blame. Tamar nevertheless continues. She tells about the letter, how serious it was, and how she asked for answers but got no response. After that, she says something that totally alters the situation. She claims that this is the cause of the strained relationship between her and her sisters. Not envious. A drama on television about personality conflicts. Tomorrow, the catalyst for the cease and desist movement is called for. The pause and stop. What is it? How about this? What's the matter? Oh, you mean the effect on the family when the scene plays out? It's the same thing the internet does. Minutes later, videos of the altercation begin to circulate online. A darker theory starts to emerge as viewers slow it down, watch it again, and analyze the text. One that extends much beyond family and legal communications. Nobody can keep quiet. The center of gravity shifts to it. Everybody wants to avoid it. They all try to make it softer. But the line is held by Tamar. Confusion then tangles the words. It's a cease and desist, she says. The others stop, half incredulously, half indignantly. Even in her mumbled delivery though, the gravity of her meaning is evident. She is discussing a cease and desist order, which is an illegal weapon that her own family reportedly used to silence her. Tamar stutters through the cease and desist clause. Give me your power. Give it your best. Causing controversy and online ridicule. No one watching is laughing. They are analyzing it. Comment sections claim that the misstep just emphasizes how real it is. She was not acting. Hurt people don't talk like lawyers. And she was upset, and angry. Their speech is victim-like. At that point, she poses the query. There is no response. Is it just me, or does a cease and desist seem like a huge deal? The ensuing quiet is informative rather than meaningless. According to Tamar, the true cause of the sisters' discord is the cease and desist. According to Tamar, there was more to this legal threat than meets the eye. It served as the impetus for their entire family dissolution. The rift that has been transforming spectators into investigators for several months. A legal threat that was sent behind closed doors is said to have kicked off some heavyweight months. She doesn't say that. They send it straight. She charges that they were aware of it, failed to defend her, and watched as someone purportedly associated with their family lawyer exploited their legal authority to silence her. Despite being unsaid, the term silence keeps coming up. The footage is haunted by it. At one point, Tamar states, "Nobody wanted to come to my defense." The words had more weight than any insult. She is accusing them of more than just betrayal. They are being accused of abandonment by her. After the legal letter, Tamar claims no one stepped up to defend her. As the video goes on, it becomes evident that this isn't just about one paper. This has to do with something Tamar was not permitted to discuss. She thinks they didn't want the world to know about it. And the rest is left to that online rumor engine. Commenters do more than simply play back the videos. They also superimpose screenshots, previous interviews, and old tweets. In a now viral discussion titled, "What was the cease and desist really about?" there is conjecture regarding potential health issues. There has been discussion over a purported medical scare, and there is a name that continues appearing. Mendeecees in the replies. Fans are becoming suspicious of a conspiracy despite the fact that there is no direct accusation or reference to him in the video. Tamar's voice is characterized by a pattern of terror and silence, and her sisters refuse to even answer the legal letter on camera. If the cease and desist was about preventing her from saying something harmful, what if it was about who gave her HIV? It spreads like wildfire. One viewer says. Tamar continues, still composed, but now brittle, her voice cracking barely a little. She no longer has faith in you. She's lost her patience. Even so, when one of her sisters tries to disassociate herself from the legal action, they dodge the elephant in the room. Tamar exerts more pressure. He was given my address by one of you. Everything changes at that very instant. Although she makes no mention of who he is, it says a lot that she didn't even have to explain. According to Tamar, the lawyer who issued the letter received her address from someone. Now, the topic of discussion extends beyond business, television, and filming. It has to do with an invasion of privacy. She claims that a lawyer was using her personal information, which was purportedly provided by a member of her own family, to silence her. Why would someone in the family go to that length? What did Tamar say or intend to say that would make legal silence more important than kinship? Toward the end of the video, one of the sisters attempts to turn everything off. Don't accompany me, Tamar. Keep away from Tony. That sentence strikes like a danger. It was addressed to Tamar, not the public. The stress that has been building all this time erupts behind the eyes. Tamar seems unfazed, but the energy in the room grows darker, as though even the crew is aware that this is no longer reality TV. This is war. A sister cautions Tamar about going for Tony Braxton. The clip continues even after the moment does. It continues to loop online. People were examining Tamar's body language, repeating that particular statement, and wondering what she was attempting to reveal. Was there something more being concealed, or was the cease and desist merely about branding? Potentially criminal scandals. Viewers don't believe Tamar's anger is just related to a contract or a vacation. They believe she was going to make public something her sisters wanted removed. And this goes beyond simple family drama. If the incident involving HIV and Mendeecees is actually real, even if it was only alleged, it's a defamatory cover-up. Tamar broke her silence in this way because some people on the internet believe it was an attempt to kill her reputation. This raises the question of whether Tamar was mistaken. Instead of being softer, the footage gets sharper as it transitions into the next scene. Despite her shaky voice, Tamar's charges are spot on. Those who formerly professed to love her are now purposefully remaining silent, which is a far more hazardous development than the ugly aftermath over a stop and desist. And when she reiterates her allegation tomorrow, it is that quiet that keeps people wondering. He was given my address by one of you. Nothing explodes in the room. It gets frozen. Only when someone taps the very nerve that everyone was avoiding can that type of silence occur. There's only deflection, no apology or denial. You all attempted to close down my entire company, she reiterates. Not hurt sentiments, but a deliberate attempt to keep her quiet. Online theorists become more interested in her arguments the more she makes them. Kmart claims that someone is attempting to ruin her company by issuing a court order. Confirmation is not necessary for the internet. It requires patterns. The audience hears more than just sadness in Tamar's voice. Through YouTube breakdowns and Reddit discussions, they hear urgency and betrayal. It is dominated by one question. What might Tamar have said that posed such a risk? Instead of letting her firm go public, her own family would want to ruin it. Then, perhaps driven by sheer defiance, Tamar hurls her family's most illustrious and oldest name into the crucible. You've never had Tony Braxton's back. It goes beyond a simple cry out. There has been a rupture. Tony Braxton, according to Tamar, never stood up for her. The public has traditionally viewed Tony as the image protector and polished matriarch. Instead of being a spectator, the untouchable figure was now being drawn directly into the drama. The audience started to wonder if she was the one calling for the stillness or if Tony was also a part of it. Even just that quote became a lightning rod. Some instantly defended Tony. Others brought up years of latent tension, shadowy undertones, and previous interviews. Kate, it was more than just what Tamar said. It was the way she put it. This was not a phony television drama. It wasn't the camera that made her cry. She had no intention of gaining favor. She was listing each name individually, and when her statements increased the tension, the room's mood broke. One of the sisters made an attempt to change the subject. Tony was given Tony Braxton. It sounded scornful, even defensive. Tamar didn't flinch though. She stepped up. Commenters stated that they now think Tony was complicit in keeping the truth from being known. Tamar had warned viewers years ago, according to others, but no one paid attention. Others, however, pretended that it was never about business and concentrated on the cease and desist, or promotion, but more about keeping Tamar quiet about a private relationship that might have resulted in something permanent, something transformational. Though the tone was fresh, the rumors were not. This had ceased to be gossip. It was personal and it was legal. As previously said, Doma is a singer and promoter. Her ability to be heard and seen is crucial to her business. Therefore, a cease and desist was not just a document hit, but also a financial hit, a mazel, and if it was even remotely connected to a public health problem, an individual with HIV, as suggested by comment sections. After then, the ramifications were devastating. One of the most widely shared fan theories on the internet claimed that the cease and desist had nothing to do with a contract. An exposure was at issue. Something in Tamar knew. They became frightened. It wasn't just foreigners, though. In the actual video, Tamar tries to backpedal when she states, "Y'all family attorney sent me." She's cut off. "And it had been years since I had him as my lawyer." One sister replies, "Hold, it seems like a lie. Or at least a calculated omission, given how powerful Tamar's follow-up is. You were unaware of it then?" The room seems uneasy right away. No cuts are made by the camera. More than any argument could possibly convey is the stillness that elapsed between the inquiry and the answer. Someone was aware of the confrontation over who sent the lawyer and who knew about it. That's Tamar's opinion. Her voice is painful, but it's not from being excluded from a vacation. It results from acknowledging that her address was provided to the person attempting to silence her by someone she trusted. Legally speaking, that is not only a betrayal, but also a privacy violation. In terms of families, it is far worse. A declaration of war has been made. The sisters don't flatly refute Tamar's statements anywhere in the video. "It wasn't us," they say. They never say, "We didn't know." Instead, they say, "I haven't had him as my attorney for years." They also say, "We're not going to try to convict Tony for a crime she didn't commit." The final word, convict, caught my attention. Did somebody mention crime? Even though Tamar didn't accuse Tony of a crime, the sister used the word, which raises the question of what crime she was thinking about. For when someone is innocent, they think about the truth rather than guilt. And that instant set up an online firestorm. Timelines, dates of alleged relationships, hushed incidents, postponed appearances, outdated court records, and even HIPAA rumors were all examined. Every path went back to the one individual who was heavily in the spotlight but not on camera. Viewers of Mendeecees drew attention to Tamar's recurring emotional outbursts surrounding the name. Although he isn't identified in this video, his absence is more noticeable than his presence. "They're protecting someone," one thread said, explaining why Tamar received the letter. The quiet turned out to be the most audible proof of all. That's why Tony won't talk, and it's probably true. Upon the eventual outburst from one sister, "Don't with Tony," the tone becomes clear. Resolution is not the issue here. Fixing anything is not the point of this. Fear, control, and power are at play here. Tamar is told by sister not to come for Tony. Now, that clip has more than 3.5 million views, including reposts. Now, the quote is a meme. However, behind each viral remix is an increasing unease. Instead of laughing, they are observing. It's not simply about what was stated anymore. It has to do with what was forbidden to say. Every time a sister sidesteps the question, changes the subject, or uses Tony's name as a shield, viewers get more convinced. This was hardly a dramatic situation. It wasn't miscommunication. It was a ruse, one that had been silently wrapped so tightly that it required a lone lady with nothing to lose to finally pry it loose. By now, the altercation no longer seems like a family dispute. It feels like being exposed. The responses or lack thereof have started to speak for themselves, not because fresh information is emerging. Tamar no longer seeks approval from others. She's not attempting to convince anyone at the table. The things that happen while she says and does are being recorded. Each pause is captured in the recording. The longer the stillness lasts, the heavier it becomes, and every deflection seems deliberate. One thing that viewers notice is how fast the discussion shifts from what happened to who is permitted to talk. It doesn't seem like a sincere attempt at comprehension when you keep asking to know who you are. It has the feel of an arrow of strategy. In order to shut it down, Tamar is forced to isolate a name due to the allegation fragment. Tamar, however, doesn't isolate. She makes broad generalizations. She maintains the appropriate amount of pressure on the group's behavior by doing this. The fundamental assertions that a cease and desist was sent are reiterated by her. Her livelihood was impacted. Her address was disclosed without her permission. And while all of this was going on, nobody came forward, called, stood up for her, or asked for her side. The room's response is one of containment rather than facts. At one point, one of the sisters claims they were unaware of the letter. The involvement of the lawyer is resisted by another. Someone declares that Toni will not be found guilty of a crime she did not commit. Convict dangles there, curiously defensive, curiously specific. The fact that Tamar didn't accuse anyone of a crime shows where their minds are, even though it doesn't match the charge Tamar made. They were accused of being silent. Furthermore, quiet combined with authority can be equally harmful. It is observed by viewers that the sisters never request to view the document. They never inquire as to the precise words. The repercussions and the time are never questioned by them. Rather, they concentrate on avoiding accountability and establishing believable denial of guilt. It's true that no individual is named. It's not a resolution. It is control of risk. Online. The storyline changes from reaction to investigation at this point. Instead of debating tone, commentators begin charting behavior. They note that when people believe they have been wrongfully accused, they often overcorrect by providing information, dates, and supporting documentation. This is the answer, is not the same. Defiant, cautious, vague. And then there's the way Toni's name alters everything. The message becomes apparent. The voices become sharper, the energy rises, and boundaries are drawn whenever Tamar brings up Toni. Some topics are prohibited, and the family as a whole is not protected by that border. It keeps one individual safe. There were two viewers. Kane's name wouldn't be radioactive if the problem were just a commercial mistake, which is why that imbalance counts. There would be indignation rather than silence if the stop and desist was a rogue action by an unconnected lawyer, so clearly, firmly on camera. But none of that happens. Instead, the conversation tightens. If Tamar were exaggerating, someone might respond, but Tamar is warned, not corrected, not reassured. This is where the accusations mentioned in the title become true, not as facts, but as opinions based on behavior observation. Proof is not necessary for speculation on the internet. It requires patterns. And based on the trend, commenters believe Tamar was under pressure to keep silent about something very personal, potentially harmful, and possibly related to someone outside the family. Not through the video, but at that point, the name Mendeecees comes up in the discussion. Audience members report that the timing seems strange. They indicate the ferocity of the reaction. The legal approach is cited. They highlight how Tamar's proximity to undisclosed details causes the family to split. Additionally, they inquire as to whether Tamar's speech regarding an alleged affair or its aftermath was intended to be silenced by the cease and desist. The video doesn't support this. Since Tamar never discloses that she has HIV, the response to the rumor, particularly the failure to address it, becomes the tale rather than any specific names in the video. She never claims to have received any gifts. Mendeecees' name is never mentioned. The accusation in the title, however, is consistent with what viewers claim they overheard. A notion among fans that Tamar was held accountable, humiliated, or measured family reaction to being hushed regarding a purported relationship-related health risk. That belief remains unabated, despite distant threats. It intensifies it instead. Viewers witness a woman demanding openness and a family demanding authority. They witness the employment of a legal document in place of a dialogue. When specific names are uttered, people perceive terror, and they witness a warning given with urgency, as though the stakes are far higher than the performance. This explains why the video keeps playing on the internet. Because it's restrained, not because it's loud. It feels real, not because it's dramatic. Tamar's attitude stays consistent throughout. She doesn't plead. She does not become agitated. She is not threatening. I repeat, she says. She takes notes. Viewers can also understand why she wants it to be broadcast on national television. Since her only witness at the moment